watch a movie, then he'll tell you all about it. It's the Armstrong Entertainment Show.
Hello everyone and welcome to Armstrong Entertainment. This is Chad here and I watched the Netflix miniseries Midnight Mass. It is directed and created by Mike Flanagan. He brought us The Haunting of Hill House, which was an excellent show a few years ago, The Haunting of Bly Manor, which was a little less, and he also did Dr. Sleep. So if you have seen any of these, the show will feel very familiar to you. The tone and everything it's very similar to all three of those things that I just mentioned. Midnight Mass tells the story of an isolated island community who begin experiencing miraculous miracles and omens when this new preacher comes into town. So it's not necessarily a horror series, it's more of a religious drama with elements of horror to it. You really get to know these characters and care for them because of the insane amount of time they spend talking. Now, I've heard that this show is nicknamed Midnight Monologue because of the insane amount of monologues in this series. I would say in every single episode, there's at least 20 to 30 minutes of just preaching or monologuing, and it's a bit ridiculous. It's too intellectual and unrealistic, and it takes you out of the moment because nobody speaks like this, and they're saying things that they could say in a few sentences. Instead, it literally, I'm not even joking, it'll be a 5-minute speech by one character, and then it'll go to the next character, and they'll speak for 5 minutes, and it's just like, nobody talks like this, and nobody's smart enough to, I mean, maybe some people are, because I'm definitely not smart enough to talk for 5 minutes, but it's too much. It's a lot of talking heads, and maybe COVID was to blame a little bit for this. They could only have like 2 actors on set. I don't know, but it's Mike Flanagan, so that's probably where we fell. So with that being said, this show is a very, very slow burn. I almost turned it off after episode 3 because I just did not think I could take it anymore, but luckily I followed through and finished the entire series, and I'm very glad I did, because by episode 5 it picks up. So episodes 5, 6, and 7 are a little bit more faster paced and more is going on, and the setup is actually set up. It's done. The first 4 episodes were the setup. It's just a very long setup, but it was enjoyable, and if you can make it to episode 5, then I definitely think you need to finish this series. This series has a lot of themes and elements to it about religion and Christianity, and I thought it was a really interesting show that I don't feel like I've seen very much before. And the soundtrack, the score that they use was, I hated it, but I loved it. I hated it because it was boring, but I loved it because it felt thematically, it was perfect. And every chapter was, I don't want to ruin too much, but it just has a lot of religious elements to it, and it's very interesting where they go with that. The acting across the board in this series is pretty decent. Yes, there are a few sore thumbs that obviously stick out. The makeup for one particular character is so god-awful, it completely takes you out of the series, but the special effects are cool. So it's kind of all over the place. I just wish they were more consistent with everything in general. I don't like the fact that you have to drudge through the first 4 episodes before you get to episodes 5 through 7, which are the action-packed and more fast-paced and more interesting things are going on. The setup was way too long, but it almost paid out completely, but not quite. I would rate this like a 6.5 out of 10. Most people who are watching this, I think, hate it. They're rating it like a 3, and there's a few who are loving it, but I think it's kind of falls somewhere in the middle. It's not as good as Haunting on Hill House. I think it's better than The Haunting of Bly Manor, and Dr. Sleep, we can't even talk about this. This is Mike Flanagan, after all. He does not know how to edit, and his series and movies show for that. So it is called Midnight Mass, and it is now streaming on Netflix. Good luck. Let me know what you think. Until next time.
He'll watch a movie, then he'll tell you all about it. It's the Armstrong Entertainment Show.